Hello, everyone, and welcome to our live AMA session. This is Ask Me Anything with Nicholas Zein, our developer community leader. He is here with us to talk about GitHub and demystify GitHub. So, when I say demystify, meaning that anyone who is not maybe familiar with GitHub or that is already will learn how to find feature requests of Elementor, find if there are bugs that they noticed, and also contribute to them or open the new feature requests or bugs. We will also talk about the latest changes we did there, and also how you can create your own account and do just that. So GitHub is not only for developers, anyone can join and contribute. So let's first welcome my colleague, Richard. Hi, Richard.
Hi, everybody. How you doing?
So Richard is
Good to be here.
right. So first of all, my name is Igor. I am Elementor's customer experience public relations specialist, as well as is Richard. So we
Yes.
both are in the same team, and we are here to actually. You probably know us, but if not, we are here to answer any questions of our users on all the channels, meaning social media, community, as well as review websites, and any concern you have with Elementor, we are here to assist you. So I will now add Nicholas to the conversation. Hi, Nicholas.
Hi, Nick.
Hello, thank you for having me.
So tell us more about what you're going to talk about today.
I'm for those who don't know me, I'm first and foremost moderator from the Elementor community, and for the past year, I've been working with Elementor to help moderate also GitHub, and my work on GitHub with Elementor on GitHub is to both help moderate, but also triage issues, answer questions, and overall test issues and help users have a resolution to their problems.
So you're showing us a presentation now, right? And then after the presentation, we will be answering some of your questions. So
Yeah.
we'll get out of your hair, Nicholas, and Richard and I will come back and join later for the questions, okay?
Thank you.
See you later.
So guys, thank you for having me. Today we are going to talk about demystifying GitHub and how people can suggest ideas and report bugs, and overall how to use GitHub. So for those who already know what GitHub is and who already have used GitHub, there's a part of our presentation that will take more. We are going to have a more simple approach, and for those who are not familiarized, so please bear with us until we reach the point where you're all eager to ask. So the first part, what we are going to do, what we are going to talk about today are what is GitHub and why we use GitHub, who can contribute to GitHub, Elementor's GitHub, when to contribute, so exactly when you should use GitHub to report bugs or suggest ideas, and how, and this is the important part, I will be guiding you on how to do this and how to contribute to GitHub. And later on, I'll explain what is our triaging process and how we organize the issues and find solutions for the new features that are requested. Later on, I'm going to talk a little about what we are having going forward for GitHub. There are some changes we are doing soon, and then I'll take any questions. So let's start. Something I need to say, we are not going to talk about today about our roadmap. So any feature requests, any plans for the future. And we are not going to talk about bug fixes or when your bugs are going to be fixed. For those, I ask you to go to our roadmap page or to our GitHub announcements page. On GitHub announcements, we usually talk about new bug fixes during our beta testing. So if you see a new announcement there, probably next week, there's the right place to ask about bug fixes and see what's going on. So what is GitHub? GitHub is a tracking tool that helps developers store and manage their code. Basically, what it means is that developers can organize their code in a way that they can see the changes that they made to their code and act upon it. But in essence, GitHub is also a collaborative tool. What this means is that more than one developer can collaborate and share their changes to the code. And this is something that is part of the core of Elementor, which is why we use GitHub. Elementor is an open source project, and collaboration is at the heart of Elementor. We really strive and try to take the most of the community. We are always listening. We use the suggestions from our users to create new features, and we have a great community also helping find bugs and solve them. And that's why GitHub is perfect for us, because it allows us to not only track bug reports and feature requests, and this goes for all engineers in the company, but also it allows us to get closer to the community and share our thoughts and our ideas. So basically, Elementor, as you know, is about community. Who can contribute to Elementor? Well, basically anyone who wants to contribute can contribute. GitHub is a public software. You don't need to pay to use GitHub. It's a free tool, and we love when we have new contributors, people sharing their ideas, their knowledge, suggesting new changes and anything. So anyone can contribute. However, there's some ways you can contribute, and we are going to talk about two of them in detail. But for now, what you need to know is that you can both contribute with sharing your ideas or suggesting new features, or even voting for your favorite ones. You can also, if you found a bug, you can also share and report it so we can track it and fix it. You can also, if you are a developer, you can obviously contribute with code. We are really open to that. We have many contributors that have shared their changes to the code that we implemented. And lastly, it's not from GitHub, but it's good to know. You can also translate Elementor to any language you want. We welcome anyone who wants to translate to do it. We have some guidelines and some links in the GitHub repository that can help you translate your Elementor to your preferable language. So let's start with how to contribute. First of all, you need to sign into GitHub. To sign into GitHub, if you don't have an account yet, it's really simple. You can just click on and sign up, and GitHub will guide you to the steps to do that. You're going to fill some forms and some fields on the form, and eventually you're going to receive a code to validate your account, and you'll be granted with the GitHub dashboard. So now I'm going to show you how we can, from there, request new features. So let me open here another page. Great. So we are here in the dashboard. GitHub may sometimes sound very daunting or challenging for people that don't understand code, but in reality, the interface is very easy to use. It's like any other social platform, and it's easy to navigate as well. So at the top here, we have a menu. There we go to some places you are going to use a lot. And the other corner, we have our menu for set profile settings, account settings, everything. And we also have a inbox where you receive notifications. So if you are participating in a discussion or starting a repository, you are going to see those here. These are pull requests. Any pull requests you made or are following will appear here, as well as any issues will appear here as well. Other possibilities are that you can create your own repositories, you can import and do all this stuff. But for now, what we are going to focus is about going to Elementor's sorry, I forgot Elementor's organization, sorry. And we are going to, I'm going to show you how you can first request post your feature requests. So I just type it in the search box, Elementor. You can do this anywhere. You can also use the / to search. So it's really easy. And we have here the Elementor repository, but I'm going to search for the, we can go from here. So we have the official Elementor repository. When we go to that page, we can see that we have some tabs here. And these tabs are the code, issues, pull requests, discussions, actions, etc. For the purpose of this demo, we are going to focus on discussions and issues. But first, I wanted to let you know that you can both click on watch. When you do that, you receive notifications for any changes. You can control your notifications. If you are a developer, you can also fork this repository. It's a public repository. And you can also start, when you start a repository, it will appear in your dashboard on the homepage, and it's easy to go from there. So let's go to discussions, which is where we are going to request our feature. So we can see here in the discussion tab that we have a search bar and an option to sort all the discussions. We can also select discussions by label, filter them, and show either open, close it, all, or any other type of discussion. On the left, we have the categories. The important category here is the feature request, which is the one I'm going to click. And when you're here, you're going to see only feature requests. The important part here is that as people start posting their feature requests, you can see that there's a button on the left of each feature request. And this button allows you to vote for your features. And this is what we are going to look for when you are going to decide which feature to add to Elementor next. So it's important for any user to always vote for their features. I'm going to use as an example here one of the features that there is most used, which is the taxonomy filter. People are asking a lot for improvements to the taxonomy filter. So all I need to do is to go to the search bar and type taxonomy filter. And it will give me any feature request that has this keyword available. So you can see here there are lots of feature requests. I can go here and vote for one, and I can also go here and comment and say something that, like everyone does, +1. You don't need to say +1. It's more important to vote. But we can also obviously create a new feature request. So let's start by creating a new feature request. For the title, it's important that when you create your feature request, remember to write a title that people can see and understand at a glance without needing to enter your feature request. This helps a lot on searching and also on voting. And the more people voting, the more the chances are for us to implement those feature requests. So I'm going to give an example here. I'm going to say, allow me to add CSS classes to elements. We have here some best practice, a list of things you should look for. It's important to read everything and make sure you're not adding, for example, more than one request per thread, because it's really difficult for us to implement requests when there are more than one. So it's important that we separate those things. And then there's the first question. I have searched for similar feature requests in both open and closed tickets and cannot find a duplicate. I did not search, so let's go back. CSS classes. Oops. So there are some promote global stars, CSS variables, class system, maybe. Let's say class system. Yeah. So there's no request about it. I'm going to post this. So allow me to add global classes to elements. Now I'm going to, now that I search it, I can check this box, and I know this feature is not present in Elementor for the time being. So now I'm going to say what problem is my feature request going to solve. You can start by saying, I'm always frustrated when I have to add styles, and I'm just going to type something here for the sake of this presentation. And then you can also say what the solution you would like us to implement and how you expect it to work. So this is the place to say that. and all these fields are obviously required. And for lastly, if you see an alternative, something you've considered, you can also use it to share here. And then if you have any additional context, as like for example images, some links, something that we can use to as a reference, this is the best place to post. We really appreciate when people are really detailed with their requests. And after finishing filling your form, you can go here and confirm that you have a search for similar discussions and then start a discussion. When you do that, what will happen is that you can see here, you can see here that we have a new feature request with 1 vote, which is mine. People can also go here and react to each feature request, vote, obviously, and can also comment. So basically, this is feature requests. Later on, I'll explain how some things, some aspects of the feature requests are going to change soon. But for now, feature requests, this is it. Let's go back to our presentation. So to summarize, here's some key takeaways about feature requests. When you are going to post a feature request, remember to search before posting. Then, if possible, if you find one, use the upvote button. This helps us a lot to understand which features we want to add to our roadmap. Remember to write a clear, concise title. Sometimes we see titles like, I don't know, CTA. You don't know exactly what the person is requesting, and you end up not voting because of that. So having a clear and concise title helps a lot for the voting. And also, obviously, detailed description will help us understand what exactly you're suggesting, and we can then start researching about that. And finally, please, 1 request per thread. This way we can actually plan our new features more carefully and don't have to try to create things that let's say that it's difficult to track features. let's keep on that. So now we are going to talk about reporting bugs. But first, something I would like to talk about. We see a lot of users posting on GitHub. Usually they are simply asking for help. Unfortunately, GitHub is not the best place for that. We can actually give support on GitHub. So what ends up happening is that on average, we have sent 105 valid issues, but from those issues, on average per month, at least 25 of those are not bug reports or known bugs, which means that users could simply or easily solve them by going to the help center, visiting the help center. There's so many issues, so many articles there that can help, and which is like, for example, many people are having trouble editing with Elementor. This is something that is covered a lot on the help center. So really what we are trying to say here is that when we need to answer all issues, which we plan to answer all issues. When people post issues that are not bug reports, what it ends up happening is that we take more time to answer them. time that could be used to fix other bugs. So it's important to be mindful of that and try to first troubleshoot your issues using the help center. If you can't solve it using the help center, you can also obviously reach out to Elementor support. Igor and Richard are always available. There's also the community on Facebook and soon other places. So there are plenty of ways to solve something before actually going to GitHub and reporting bugs. So let's start our demo about reporting bugs. So we are here back on GitHub. I'm going to go back to the Elementor organization, and I'm going to the Elementor repository. This is about the Elementor free version, the core version. And what we are going to do now, we are going to go to issues to report bugs. When you visit the issues page, you can see that a similar interface. You have some options for filters. You can click here to learn more about the search syntax. GitHub search syntax is really very thorough. So you are always going to have a lot of options to filter. So if you need help, you can click here. It's going to take you to the page explaining how you can search for any of the terms you need. Then there's obviously the search bar. You can type anything here. You can also, once you have your term here, so let's try again taxonomy. And so I'm searching for issues that are open, and the keyword is taxonomy. But I can also search for the author if I want to, or for a specific label. Let's say, for example, the same thing, taxonomy filter. So I can go here, click on component, filter taxonomy. We are revamping the filter, the label system, and giving more context, adding more descriptions, and this is part of our plans for the future. I'll talk about this soon. So for example, I click here, and now I'm filtering by label using the taxonomy. I could change the term for loop grid, for example. It's going to show the same thing because they are related, but I think you get what I mean. Elementor doesn't use projects, so you don't need to search for projects, but sometimes we have milestones. For example, the 3.18 version. There's no term on this, but if I remove all the keywords and leave all the milestones, I can see that it's something related to PHP. It is going to be fixed on Elementor 3.18. Great. So what else? You can sort. Assign is also something we don't use, but you can sort your issues. You can search for most reacted. And anyway, there's a lot of ways to search. And so please, before posting your issue, make sure you search first. This helps prevent duplicates. It's something that happens a lot as well. And without duplicates, we can focus on actually solving real issues. So that's basically it. Before we go to submit feature bug reports, it's important for us to read the contribution guidelines. When you first start this, notes it will appear here, but I'll show you how to go to the contribution guidelines, and you should always take a look before posting, so you can know anything that's it's important for us to when validating your issues. For now, this is a document that we also plan to change, so I'm not going through it, but just so you know, it's there. So let's start by submitting a bug report. You can see here before you start, there are options for you to choose if you're not sure where you're going, if you should post a bug report. This is important as well. If you're not sure, there are links here to go to the right place to post. So please try those places before posting. And so let's start posting our bug report. And the first thing we see here is the title. Again, we need to understand what the problem is. So if you write a clear and concise title, this helps a lot for us to actually understand what the problem is. And then we have some guidelines here, some texts. This is something that we've been trying and testing for the past year. And lately, we understood that this is not the most easy way to implement this. So this is something we are going to change as well. But for now, all you need to know is that you need to fill out the required fields, especially the system info, because this is also something that we use to try to reproduce your issue. And when we don't have the system info, this becomes very difficult to do. So using the system info is something that it's really, 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 really important for us. And we have some guides here that explain how you can isolate the problem and validate your issue. So check if the issue is happening only with Elementor or the Hello Elementor theme. This means it's probably a bug. It's more likely to be a bug, not probably, more likely. But if you don't test, it's likely that your issue may be caused by a conflict with something else. What we have to understand here is that WordPress is really any website that uses WordPress is really unique. There's no two equal websites. And for us to understand how to solve your issue, we really need to understand how you can use how we can reproduce your issue. So following all these guidelines helps us do that. So some things you need to know, you need to search before you need to search before posting. This is important. Sometimes we get 3 or 4 duplicates, and this takes time to answer. And also test again the latest stable versions. Sometimes it's some users sometimes post about issues when it's really something that was already solved in a recent version. So having the latest version and knowing that it's happening with the latest version helps us eliminate possible conflicts with something else. And then it's the same thing, writing a detailed description, something that we can understand, we can follow up. Writing the steps to reproduce is something really important. And maybe people don't understand this, which is something we are trying to change, is that when we ask for steps to reproduce, is like, how did you reach to the point where you have the issue, and not how, not where it happened, or, it's like explaining how I could reproduce this problem on my own machine. Then we have some points here that you can confirm that you have isolated the problem, and only Elementor and Elementor Pro are active, that you are using the Hello Dem theme, so you know that this is not a problem with conflict with another theme, and that you are consistently reproducing the issue. Lastly, this is the most important part. Please share your system info. This is something really important to us. This is what allows us to actually go from start to beginning to find your bug you are reporting. If you don't do this, it's basically impossible to try to find the issue. Well, when you finish, you can go submit your new issue and you're good to go. So this is reporting bugs. I hope I was clear enough. So what are the key takeaways? Please, before posting, troubleshoot and validate your issue. Check the help center, check the academy, check with the guys on GitHub, on Facebook, or even check with the Elementor support. Next, check with Elementor support. It's important to us when you write a clear and concise title so we can understand easily what happens. Sometimes we know something might be a problem, and having just a glance to check the title of the issue can help us better triage and organize how we are going to solve issues and prioritize which issues we are going to solve. And again, giving a detailed description and filling out the required fields. So now that we talked about how to use GitHub to report issues, report bugs, and request features, I wanted to talk about some of our triaging process. Many users ask us a lot about when a bug will be fixed or when a feature will be released. And the idea here is to explain how we prioritize those things. I'm not going to talk about all the details, but perhaps this will help answer some of your questions. The first thing we do is read all issues. We don't leave any issue behind. Some users ask how can I make Elementor see my issue, for example. We read all the issues. Me, personally, I read all the issues always. And if I don't answer now, I will at some point. So this is the first part, reading the issue, understanding the problem, and then we start to test and validate the issue. So we read the system info, we build a version of a website that is almost equal to yours, with the same plugins, with the same installation, with the same memory, everything similar at least. And then we start testing your problem. And if we find something, we usually go right away and answer the issue and say we are labeling it and going in moving it forward to our team. When we don't find it, we need to make more tests, and this is where we pass to other things to test it out. And this is part of the bug triaging. And when we do that, sometimes it may take a lot of time to answer, or it may take a lot of time to fix the issue. But there is no issue that we won't fix. Perhaps what it's hard to understand is that sometimes we need to prioritize some issues over the others. And how we do that? We do that by checking the gravity of the issue. We need to know what it is impacting. It's something that affects functionality of the editor, of the front end, or not, or is it something that affects a lot of users? Is this something that completely breaks the website, or is it something that can it's an annoyance, but it's not as grave or breaking? And then we obviously have other issues, other sources for bug reports. So we have sources from bug reports from the support guys, the supporting CX team, and internally we do a lot of testing as well. So we have a lot of quality assurance engineers that are actually 24/7 trying to find bugs and fix them, and in testing new features, new releases, new changes. So this is all to reach a point where we can say this feature or this issue is going to be fixed or solved at this point in time. And this is how we decide which one of them are going to be released in the next version. We understand sometimes an issue can be urgent for some users, but in general, all issues are urgent. So we need to have a way to actually give them a, like a way to understand, to give them the correct priority so they can be fixed. Fortunately, we have a really great community. I think it's awesome that we have so many users contributing and sharing their issues and allowing us to helping us to find and fix them. So please don't hesitate to post your issue if you know it's really a bug, because this is really helpful for us. There's no way we can test all the configurations and all the compatibility with other issues. So this is really important. So this is the criteria use. And finally, our plans for for GitHub.
Yeah, I
Sorry.
was just going to ask about that, Nick. Yeah, what are the plans for the future with GitHub?
Yeah,
Elementary?
I thought.
Yeah.
Thank you, Richard. I thought I talked about it a lot. We For the past year since we started the roadmap, the public roadmap, we've been looking closely at how we can improve our triaging process, how we can find new ways to expedite and also to answer users more quickly. And so for the past month or so, I think some users might have some users that use GitHub. I have seen that I've not been answering them for some time, and that's because I was working on changing all the documentation on GitHub, all the forms, and planning to improve the labels so people can find issues and in features more easily. And we are almost ready to release those changes. So the documents we are implementing and changing are the new contribution guidelines. They are more detailed. They explain how we can, how everyone can contribute. They have links to the right documents, the right places you can contribute, and some guides on how you can do it. We are also introducing a new code of conduct.
Okay.
This is something that it's really dear to our hearts because we want everyone to be able to contribute. So our code of conduct outlines how you should behave on GitHub, how you should communicate with others, how you should respect others. So it's something that we are implementing soon. And we are also reformulating completely all the forms So both for feature requests and for issues, we are making them more clear, more easy to understand, more easy to navigate, separating things better,
Okay.
giving links for people to click and go and do their action more easily. And now that we have been since January, we've been like it's 11 months. We finally was able. We finally were able to identify all feature requests and all bugs that are currently open as issues, and we are ready to migrate them to the discussions. So this is going to happen soon as well. Finally, we can do that with confidence. We've been testing with a lot of tools to make sure we are covering everything. So this is the next step. And for the next year, we are going to go through all open issues that are pending, that have been open for a long time,
Oh, that's
and
great.
at least give them some answer. So
Nice.
from my part, that's it. Thank
Well,
you.
thank you very much. Thank you very
Thank,
much. That was a
I've
very detailed
talked a lot.
demonstration. Everything is, yeah, was
thank you, Nicholas,
amazing.
and really, really great presentation, I think, and answers a lot of questions. However, we do have questions that some of them were posted before this event, some of them during. So I'm gonna
Mhm.
post, I think, about five of each. So let's see if we can go quickly through them. So the first question is from Brian. How can we bring urgent bugs to attention?
Yeah, so I talked, I covered this a little before, but basically all issues are under our attention. But I think what he meant here is when we are going to answer him and fix his bugs. The answer is now that we have uh, everything ready for this change, we can focus again on giving people answers. I can't say that we are going to solve all the issues immediately. It's not something that is feasible, but obviously, I'm going to answer every single one of them, and everyone can be rest assured that we discuss every issue and we give them a destination, we create a task, and we work on them. Sometimes it takes some time, but sometimes it's more fast depending on the gravity of the issue, which is why I needed to share the triaging process. So I think that's it.
Thank you. Another question from Victor. Why aren't there any labels to organize discussions?
Yeah, this is something that I've been working on for quite some time. uh, Elementor has a lot of features. We sometimes take it for granted and don't realize how many features Elementor has. And the labeling we have on GitHub, we have one label for each feature. And sometimes that can be daunting, that can be confusing. So I've been working on trying to find a way to make those labels more identifiable. And by doing that, this will also allow us to better label discussions. Obviously, feature requests are not something we intend to answer each one, because the idea is for the community to discuss between itself and obviously votes. And we are just observing the discussions. But for sure, we are going to label all feature requests, starting from those that are issues, and then going through all the 800 new feature requests we received since we started the roadmap. So yeah, we are going to use labels, and this is going to happen soon.
great to know that. And I believe Victor got the answer. So next question is from John, and John says, why Elementor does not answer feature requests?
Well, I think I just answered that. The idea is not to answer each one of the feature requests. The idea is to open a discussion. If we stop it to answer which one, we don't want to, let's say, we don't want to interfere on what people discuss, because when those discussions happen, this helps us understand what are
Users are thinking, right?
yeah, what users are thinking, and we can plan better for the future as well. So
Exactly.
that's
I
why
know.
we don't answer feature requests.
I know from my, when I'm building a site, I'm always like, oh, I just need this feature. But then I look back and, okay, I did need this feature for this site, but usually you don't use it for 99% of the websites. So that's why I think also the great thing about Elementor is the ecosystem, right? Because you can install third-party add-ons for Elementor. Okay, let's go for the next question. It's from Michael, and Michael says, are there any plans for implementing feature XYZ? I believe XYZ is not the name of the feature.
Yeah, this one was I changed this question. He asked for something else, but as I said, we are not discussing our plans for the future. If we are going to implement something, you can check on the roadmap or follow our announcements on GitHub to follow the beta releases. This is where we discuss new features and plans for the future. But for the sake of this presentation, we are not going to talk about feature requests.
Okay. So roadmap is a good thing to watch out for as well.
Yeah.
So one more question that came before, and again, we're gonna also see other questions. So this one comes from Tony, and Tony says, are pull requests by users welcome?
Yeah, this is something I didn't cover here because I think it's more of advanced feature, something for people who already know how to use GitHub. And the idea is to demystify GitHub. So yeah, for sure, we love contributions from other developers. We are very open. You just need to follow the contribution guidelines and submit your pull requests, and we will review it. And if we think it's something that can benefit Elementor and Elementor users, we will probably implement. If you check our changelog or roadmap, many of the contributions came from other developers. So yeah, for sure, you can contribute.
That sounds great. Now let's see the most recent questions what we have. Okay, so this is the first one from YouTube. It is already submitted on a feature requests for a long time, and even among the top 10 most wanted. I hope you guys can get a bit more attention to that request. So he's probably talking about a specific request that's already in the top 10. So what are we doing about the top 10 requests?
Yes. Yeah, we've been discussing for the last month and probably the next month about our plans for the next quarter, which is going to be the first quarter of 2024. And we haven't yet came to our decision on what we are going to implement, but most of the top 10 feature requests are going to be implemented, if not now, eventually. And these are obviously, as I said, we are always looking for what is most requested by the community. So these are probably the ones that are going to be implemented. Although I need to let people understand that sometimes some features are more difficult to implement than others. So we sometimes give more priority to some features, some feature requests than others, because those are easier to implement or don't require changes in the code that may break backward compatibility and things like that. So uh, we are always implementing features that most user requests.
Great. And I would say, guys, just keep voting, and eventually we'll definitely implement those. Another question from Didier. I looked at GitHub requested features, and most of them are from devs. Elementor is pitched at designers, is to ease of use, no coding. It would be nice if you could address features for designers too. So what do we have?
Look, what I can say is that please share your ideas, ask your friends to vote, and ask the community, share on GitHub, share on Facebook, share everywhere, and maybe we can take more look on this. I'm obviously going to talk about with the team about the uh, things we are listening from users today, but please do share your ideas. We are open to that.
Great. Now a question from, I believe, Toyenzo. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Is there some kind of threshold for GitHub requests until it gets, for feature requests, sorry, until it gets added to the roadmap?
I believe he's talking about the number of votes or comments. No, there's no physical threshold. It goes there. There are few criteria we use, and some I can't talk here, but basically we just go with the requests that are more likely to fulfill a milestone or something like that that will help users. So it's not really when you reach a point this feature is going to be released, because as I said, some features are more difficult to implement than others. So no, there's no threshold.
Great to know. I think we have another question from the same user. So what is the difference with the multiple, just give me a second, releases, GitHub releases zip files like the latest minus XXX, cloud, beta, etc. What about developer version? Why only beta version now?
So Elementor is working. Obviously, we don't only fix bugs and implement features. We are constantly improving our infrastructure. Infrastructure. Sorry, and so behind the scenes, we are changing how our versions are released and uh, uh, how we implement those releases. And this obviously reflects on the new release zip files. For each of our products, we have a different zip file. So, for example, when there's a beta version, for example, 3.17 that's released last month, when there's a beta, we have a release that has the tag for beta. When there's a cloud release, which is for our hosting products that are always version ahead, these are exclusive to the cloud installations, because there's other implementations we have with our infrastructure I need to learn that word. And I think the before people were used to have a separate version for the developer edition. This is not something we are doing anymore. It's part of the we just use the tag for the dev edition depending on the dev version. And yeah, this is not the only thing we are changing. We are always changing something. I'm always learning some new tricks, and so this is part of those changes.
So thank you very much for answering that. There is another question from the same user. It's not really maybe related, but I'll show it anyway. So can we build Elementor ourselves to try out bleeding features? One thing I want to mention here is that if you get Elementor hosting, you get a different version of Elementor, right? Can you tell us more about that and why is that?
Yeah, Elementor hosting is usually one version ahead, and this it includes features that are not yet present in the current versions of the plugin. So, sorry. Yeah, if you want to use the bleeding edge features, you can either use the hosting, Elementor hosting, or obviously there's still the dev edition. We are slowly releasing less versions for the dev edition, but there is a possibility to install the Elementor beta, which is the beta developer edition plugin. This will enable Elementor to download the beta version, and then you can use the bleeding edge. But it's important to note that when you do that, things might break. So please don't use it on a production website. But you can still use the dev edition. If you don't, we can share later in the description of the video a link to the dev edition, and people can try that.
Sounds good. Sounds good. So there is one more question, again, a bit unrelated to what we're talking about, but I wanted to show because we do get these general questions which are not really related to certain bugs or so. But for example, why does Elementor add extra code that makes the site slower down? So again, it's kind of question. Maybe people notice something like a behavior like that, and then they contribute it to additional code. Can you tell us more about this and what Elementor is doing to make future versions actually faster and not slower?
Yeah, I'm not sure if you followed. Recently, we had a seminar with Miriam Schwab about performance. Elementor is always working on improving performance. Every version we have something that improves performance.
I have to tell people that if they go to our YouTube channel and look through videos, I'm sure they will find in the recent videos a lot of podcasts that we had, actually videos that we had about performance and the things that we do for
but about the code, it's difficult to answer that because it's not easy exactly something people want to hear. But many of the Elementor features rely on many of the code that people often let's say, not they are wrong, but they mislabel it as bloat, code bloat, but it's actually part of many of the functionalities Elementor has. And when we since we are always trying to improve on performance, the something people need to understand as well is that we have around 14 million websites right now, something like that. And we need to support all those websites. We can't simply change things and remove code and remove things without first testing, without first making sure there's a transition between those changes. So it's Elementor is always trying in working to improve the code, but it's not something we will do simply to break everything. We have a responsibility towards our users, and we are taking our time to make things right. So why does Elementor add extra code? Elementor does not add extra code. It uses the code it requires for the moment. That's my answer. I know you don't like that. I might not like that, but yeah, that's the truth.
Yeah, we could probably add here also. It also depends on the theme, and the hello theme. If you want to say a
Yeah,
couple of words about our hello theme.
performance is something that it's not like a button. It's something complex. It depends on so many things, like your server, the technology you're using on a server, the distance your server are from you, and how many plugins or which plugins more specifically you're using. Because it doesn't matter if you have 100 plugins installed or two. If one of those two has a problem, it will make your site slow. So Elementor, something that people forget about, Elementor handles all the uh, front face of the website, not just not just a part of a page. Usually, sometimes you don't use Elementor Pro, but many people use Elementor Pro, and this handles all the front page part of the website. So Elementor obviously is the one that uses most of uh, the resources of the website, because it's always there being used. If you have a header, if you have a footer, if you have an archive template or a single template, and things like that. So uh, it's difficult to talk about performance without understanding how it really works, and understanding why uh, a specific website has problems with performance.
Correct.
But anyway,
Yeah.
One thing I would like to mention is a lot of our users that built the websites a year ago or a couple of years ago, they usually don't touch anything, right? It's always like, don't touch anything. And that's a common thread that we hear. However, I would say that no, please do touch, but first make a backup, create a staging site, and then check out our performance increasing features, right? So if you go to Elementor settings features, you will find a bunch of new features that help with performance, that help your website be faster. Okay, and also probably people maybe don't know, in the latest version of our theme, if you go to appearance, you will see theme settings. There you can even disable. I believe there are 4 or 5 settings that you can
Yeah.
disable and actually make your site not load some additional CSS that comes from the theme if you don't use it. Again, play around with it on a staging site rather than on a live site, but that will definitely help. And again, please play around, but be careful and create a backup, of course.
yeah,
That's what I would say. But Nicholas, again, really, really great presentation from you, and thank you for
Yeah.
answering
Thank you.
all the questions.
thank you for
Really,
having me.
Yeah. Of course.
absolutely, absolutely.
We
So
should do this every week.
at least every month.
Yeah,
Once a month. Yeah.
If you
yeah.
would like to be our guest, we would love it. And thanks to everyone on YouTube and Facebook that followed this live stream. And see you next month with a new guest and a new topic. Thank you.
Bye bye,
Thank you,
guys.
guys. Bye
Yeah.
bye.
Bye bye.